That was awesome, Mr. Ethan Peterson. Woo! What a story. We got a minute here. Played at a cafe au play in Stowe. Half kids play space, half parents cafe. And this little kid named Luca, like this tall, just a onesie and like a binky, just kind of like the deer in headlights. Oh, the world is amazing. Look, he started dancing on stage. He was awesome. There was a painter off to the side. He was kind of checking out the painter. And a very well-behaved little kid, because if that was me, I would have been like right into the paint. But that was awesome. All right. Next up, he is a poet and performer known for slice-of-life poetry about the overlooked moments and everyday struggles of extraordinary people, because we are not ordinary, we are extraordinary. He is the author of 2 books poetry, We Are Made of Found Objects and Break Wall to Break Wall, published by Poets Hall Press and Writing Nights. They are in the house as well. They're awesome people. Tonight he'll be performing work from his current project, which he hopes to have published later this year, Mr. J.M. Romig.
I'm actually going to be jumping from that collection and other collections too. Just scribbled out a set list in the back of this. Alright, let's start this off with 4. In the beginning, there will be nothing. Not even nothing. No thing for longer than we can fathom. A nothing that lasts forever. Forever times forever. Then one day, suddenly, for no apparent reason, boom, everything. Carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, gases, solids, planets, earth, microbes, right? Microbiomes, fish, raptors, chickens, dolphins, platypodes, Australopithecus, mankind and all the cousins that we screwed and slaughtered. Agriculture, nation states, ownership, slavery, freedom, the written language, industrialization, the printing press, chatbooks, the internet. And somewhere in the midst of all of that, you and I are set on a collision course to this moment. You and I, we stumbled into being by accident, but once we got our footing, we started running, sprinting, biking, driving, flying, teleporting, grunting, speaking, shouting, screaming, telephoning, carving, painting, scribing, typing, televisioning, hoping, praying, preaching, leeching, televangeling, hunting, fighting, shooting, nuking, telewarring, no warning. We took, without asking, what was rightfully ours because we said so. Because we were the first who could. We claimed and named this world because we thought we should. Because no one else would. We did all of this and called it good. We willed it to be, and so it was so. We killed so it would be so. And those of us who might object would have our necks snapped in the next lynching. We made mad mobs and gave them fire. We raised our children with it, burning inside and out. We passed on a legacy of scorched earth and piracy. We did all of this and called it God. You and I, we stumbled into being by accident, though we felt it was designed, for surely we thought no chance happening could make something so perfectly brutal, righteous and beautiful. We thought we must be, handcrafted by divinity. These next 3 are from a short collection I put together with Beautiful Blasphemy, who are also in the house, my friend Ryan. And this is a collection called Octothorpe, which, if you don't know, is the actual symbol for what the hashtag sign is, or the pound sign, depending on how old you are. And all these poems are about how social media affect our lives and things like that. So this is called Upload Me to the Mushroom Cloud. When I pass on, do me one last courtesy and delete me from your phone. Unfriend, unfollow, and block me if you must. I do not want to be a spirit haunting your social media feed. My final selfie staring through you to the deepest part of your soul. Did I just move? You bet they did. Delete me. You can keep my streaming service subscriptions if you want to keep paying for them, but delete my profiles, will you? I promise I won't be needing them. Do not fill my timeline with peace for me to rest in. There is no peace or rest in all those unchecked notifications. No one needs to be reminded of my absence, and I do not need the guilt of your questions, your whys and hows and introspection. Let me tell you right now, so you don't have to anguish, there was nothing you could do. There was no way you could stop it. Time is relentless and cruel, and it ends for all of us eventually. We all expire, go bad, spoil, and become something rotten in the earth or cooked to dust to be littered in some lake. We all go somewhere or nowhere eventually and leave behind someone Googling the stages of grief. Refreshing a blog that will never be updated again. Searching past tweets for omens or instructions on building a time machine. There is no such thing. So please don't. Just let me be forgotten, and in time, maybe forgiven too. Comments disabled. There is blood in the comments section today, and the anonymous trolls can smell it. Behind their masks, they lick their lips in anticipation for a meal. With their crudely crafted clubs, they stroll toward the battlefield. There is blood in the comments section today, and the social media, the social justice warriors can smell it. Behind their laptops, between sips of artisan coffee, they crack their knuckles and prepare for war. Armed with their citations and the righteous indignation of a proper education, they charge toward the battlefield. There is blood in the comment section today, and the alt-right Western chauvinists can smell it. And from behind their wall of hate and snark, they chant and stomp and growl, armed with observation and the righteous indignation of a real-world education, they march toward the battlefield. There's blood in the comments section today, and the swarm of Russian drones can smell it. They live in the battlefield, hiding among the behind real American faces. They pick at an open wound, ensuring it will never have a chance to scab over. There is blood in the comments section today, and your next-door neighbor can smell it. Behind his laptop, he stews in anger, armed with his tinfoil hat and his AR-15, and the righteous indignation of a fundamental education. He stalks toward your school, or a movie theater, or a church. There is blood in all of America's holy places, and you can smell it too. Still, you can't stop refreshing. With each reply, you see the line between your enemy and his argument thinning to a thread, and you wonder how this is going to affect Thanksgiving this year. All right, aging millennial blues. My feet ache. My back aches, my heart aches from this overtime. 50 hours this week, and I still won't make ends meet, let alone put a dent in my debt. But the boomers I work with won't let me forget that my generation got participation trophies. Oh, please, spare me. I can't even with you, so I won't. I'm entitled, you say. You get to retire, I don't. I've been 34 years in these bones. It's going to take 79 more to pay off my student loans, but I'm still beating my feet against the concrete floor, still breaking myself and asking for more, still scraping by with the help of a roommate, my parents, and a side hustle or four. But I'm getting too old for all this running around. I can't play. Shit's different now. I don't even know the game anymore. I mean, people selling shit on Facebook now. What happened to eBay or word of mouth? The heck is a Snapchat? The heck is a Cash App? I can't keep up, I've been out. And the phones all have touch screens now. They can't even fit in your pocket. What even is this? I mean, I miss my sliding keyboard.
At least you're not dying of dysentery.
All right, the second is from my Writing Lights. The next two are from my Writing Lights collection, Break Wall to Break Wall. Okay. This one's called Counting Stars. Find the page. Screw it, I'll read at the concert, because I like that one better anyway. There is a beauty in her brokenness, the way an abandoned church is spiritual. Beaten in the fight against her nature submitting to the idol. She is self-destructive and potentially poisonous, but she was my punk rock goddess, and I'm her poet, slave, muse, and mistress. I knew I was doomed to heartbreak. Nevertheless, I took the bold steps toward my apocalypse. Her name is Catharsis, the sun. I am Icarus's wax wings. I can't get too close or she'll burn right through me. It's a defense mechanism, she says. She's crazy and I should fly far away. I should heed the warning, but I don't. I'm drawn onto her, inked by something more than animal attraction. I'm a bloodlusting mosquito, and all I want is a little bit of her inside of me. She makes me want to write like metaphor-heavy poetry. And then Counting Stars, almost a reply poem actually to that. When she was little, she tried to count the stars. She lost track at 236 and started over. She said, this had been a recurring trend throughout her life. She would search for four-leaf clovers, not because she believed in luck, but because she loved the challenge of impossible tasks, like hunting for needles in haystacks. She was never angry with herself when she failed. She wasn't stupid. She knows what impossible means. But every time she did find one lucky clover, or counted just one star more than the last time she smiled to herself, having beaten the impossible. All she wanted was proof that she wasn't doomed by fate. Proof that she's more than an infinitely tiny speck of carbon, on a much larger speck of carbon, floating in the vast sea of the impossibly massive specks of carbon that too are infinitely tiny, which compared to the sea in which we all swim. So, when she made it her mission to steal this boy's heart, it wasn't about love. Not that she was intentionally cruel, just the fact it was the fact that he was so distant. Like the innumerable stars hanging above her head every night, taunting her. She couldn't help herself, she had to try. She took her victory and his virginity in the back of a Dodge Neon, parked in the shadow of an abandoned factory on a dead-end street. Afterwards, they sat on the roof of her car. With eyes soaked in that teenage, sappy, first-time kind of love, he gazed upon her like she was an angel sent to save him. But she was too busy counting the stars to notice. These next two are from We Are Made of Found Objects, which was put up by Poets Hall Press in Erie back in 2015. This title poem of that. He is a makeshift scarecrow, filled with crumpled up first drafts of love notes, kicked through cobwebs that linger in the long forgotten corners of old classrooms. She is an island of kindling, bits and pieces of broken bottles, crumpled up newspaper, and misplaced other things tossed out into the ocean, forced to swim, wet and freezing, forever gathering into a huddled mass of leftovers longing to be set on fire. They are a collage of poorly taken Polaroids of strangers in waiting rooms with fingers knotted in prayer or polite tedium, held together by masking tape on a well-loved corkboard. I am a tightly sealed mason jar full of captive fireflies, pillbugs, caterpillars, and moss, and not enough air holes in the lid. I fear these things will die inside of me. And you too, are a mason jar, but you are full of brightly colored osprey and jelly beans with a thick black question mark painted on your face. This next one from that same collection is called The Wishing Well Tattoo. There's this tattoo I want to get. If I ever get rid of this fear of making decisions. It's this little girl, maybe 7 years old or so. She's holding on to an aged dandelion by its neck. Her eyes closed, but open to a whole other world. She shoots a wish toward it. With every muscle in the body that she doesn't know the name of yet, the seeds are propelled across my back and transform into the shooting stars they always dreamed they'd be. Somewhere below, on an otherwise empty beach, are a couple of teenagers discovering themselves inside one another. They kiss and tell no one. The blanket promises to keep their secret, and the sand sneaks into places it knows it's unwelcome. They are drunk on the passion of the moment. She is lost in the stars. She wants to gently scoop those lights from the sky and seal them in a mason jar and watch them do their cosmic dance around each other to remind herself of how she feels under them, how amazing it felt to be everything and nothing at the same time. She holds her breath, closes her eyes, and sends up a wish in the music of young lust. Meanwhile, on my rightmost shoulder blade, there's an older man looking down a wishing well the two young lovers play, smiling at his memories which like the ink are fading. A wish falls out of his mouth and speeds down into the darkness. It bounces off the back of the boy's head and is gobbled up by the greedy sand.